Hello students, my name is Ms. Richardson.
And I'm Mr. K.
And today we'll be discussing two methods for longhand multiplication of 2-digit and 3-digit numbers.
The first method is referred to commonly as the stacking method. It's one you'd typically do in school. It's where the numbers are stacked on top of each other when written. So, for example, 25 and 12. With this method, you typically take the second most digit, which is in the ones place, multiply it by the top numbers as such. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Then you add that 1 to it. You have 50. Now, if we're working with the tens digits, to make sure that you're working with the tens, you add a 0 before beginning as normal. So 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. From there, you simply add. 250 plus 50 is the same as adding 25 plus 5, which is 30, with an extra 0 on the end. So your total answer should be 300. This also applies to 3-digit numbers. For example, 120 and 260. It may look intimidating because there's 3 digits there, but it's the same principle. So you start with the ones and multiply the bottom one by all the digits on the top. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. And 0 times 1 is 0 because zeros. Then, moving along to the tens, make sure you drop a 0. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 2 is 12. And 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. Then you move on to the hundreds digits, in which case you do what you did for the tens. You drop a 0. But then you're going to drop a second 0 because you're now working with hundreds. And then you do things normally. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Derp. Ignore me. And 2 times 1 is 2. Then, once again, you add vertically. So this is 0, this is 0, this is 2. 7 plus 4 is 11. 2 plus 1 is 3. Your total answer should be 31,200. The stacking method. All right. Bear with us. This is going to roll a shit ton. Adhesive. All right. Give yourself a few seconds.
The second method is called the box method, thus called because you do your multiplication in a box. So with 2-digit numbers, he used 12 and 25, and so will we. You're going to use a 2x2 box with 4 separate areas. So, with this method, you break your numbers down into groups of 1s and 10s. So 12 has 1 10, which is 10, and 2 1s, so 10 plus 2. 25 has 2 10s, so 20, and 5 1s. So then we write them in to our box. And then we multiply. So 20 times 10 is 200, and 20 times 2 is 40. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 5 is 50. Now, carrying on, you'll add the contents of each box together. So 200 plus 50 plus 40 plus 10. You can break these down into simpler groups if you need to. 40 and 10 is 50, and 250 is 250. And then, like he did with the longhand stacking method, 250 plus 50 is 300. So, when you move on to 3-digit numbers, it's the same system, but your box is a little bit different. Because you're working with 3-digit numbers, you now have a grid of 3 by 3, or 9 boxes. So, we used 120 and 260. Now with this, you're going to do the same thing you did over here, but you're adding a secondary group in addition to what you already had. So you had your ones and tens, but now you need your hundreds. 120 has 100, 2 tens, and 0 ones. 260 has 2 hundreds, 6 tens, and again 0 in the ones place. So we'll write these in over here. Zero times 0 is 0. 0 times 20 is 0. 0 times 100 is 0. 0 times 60 is 0. And 0 times 200 is also 0.
Because zeros.
Because the rule of zeros is that anything times 0 will equal 0, no matter what. So then you move on to your other numbers. You have 200 and 100, which together make 2,000.
Should be 20,000.
20,000, excuse me.
A little side note, ladies and gentlemen. If you're having issues with your zeros when multiplying, the total number of zeros that'll come after is equal to the total number of zeros present in the 2 or more numbers used for the multiplication.
So 100 times 200 is 20,000. 60 times 20 is going to be 1,200, or 1,200, depending on how you prefer to say it. 60 times 100 is 6,000, and 200 times 20 is 4,000. Now, just like over here, with the 2 by 2 grid, you're going to add your numbers all together.
You have more room for addition now.
And just like before, you can add your numbers together in smaller groups to make it simpler. 6,000 and 4,000 is just like 6 plus 4 with an extra couple zeros. So it's 10,000 plus 20,000 plus 1,200. And 10 and 20 make 30. So this is 31,000. Nope. Yep, 31,200.
Which is the exact same number that was present for the stacking system.
And this is because you started with the same numbers, so you will always receive the same answer no matter what method you use.
If, by chance, your numbers are not the same for either method that you're using, you might be doing your math wrong, or you might have missed a step. It always pays to go back and double check.